Welcome, everyone, to the November 2025 version of the CPO 1 meeting. And as always, we start with our land acknowledgement. We acknowledge the people on whose land we live, the Utfality Kalapuuans, also known as the Tualatin Band of Kalapuuans, the first inhabitants of Washington County. We are grateful for the land we are on, Kalapuuan land. Signers of the Willamette Valley Treaty of 1855 were removed from their homelands to the Grand Ronde Indian Reservation. Today, their descendants are tribal members of Grand Ronde and Celeste tribes, carrying on the traditions and cultures of their ancestors. We acknowledge and express gratitude for the ancestors of this place and recognize that we are here because of the sacrifices forced upon them. In remembering these communities, we honor their legacies, their lives, and their continuation in our community. I invite all of us to reflect on the role government has played in the painful colonial history and reflect as well on the resilience and healing of the Indigenous land and communities. We invite everyone to collaborate and work together with the tribes to take care of the land and the water and the people who inhabit these spaces. And with that, we will hear from some of our service providers. Looks like we have, what the heck is going on here? A sheriff deputy there. Since you're up on the screen, let's go ahead and have Sheriff report.
Hi, everybody. My name is Sergeant Danny DePietro over here at the Sheriff's Office. Let's see here. Let's see if I'm able to share my screen so I can show you this PDF file. Virginia, by chance, do you have it?
I do not.
All right. Let me see if I can find it here. Share.
Was that the crime map?
Yeah, I've got it right here. I'm sharing it as we speak. All right. Can you guys see that?
Yes.
Perfect. All right. So going over the stuff, everything looks great. Nothing, let's see here. I just want to double check, make sure nothing's out of the ordinary. Got our typical hotspots that you would see in more of the populated areas. Nothing too crazy. I just want to look at one more thing is the calls for service. Whoops. Let's see if I can get that going. Whoops.
That's a nice, understandable graphic.
You said it is an understandable one?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm glad we were able to do these ones. These really break everything down to show what's going on. So obviously I have this for you, but right now what I really wanted to touch base on is kind of open the floor, see if there's any questions. I went to CPO for, was it Monday? Yeah, Monday. And they have a lot of questions about ICE. I just want to see if there's any questions from any of you, the community members, about ICE, if there's anything we can do to answer those. Just kind of open the floor. If not, I have a few tips that I'd like to share. But other than that, does anyone have anything specifically for me or the sheriff's office question?
Oh, I know we've been hearing reports of ICE activities in our community and in CPO 7 area and all over, really, in Hillsborough, more than at the beginning. Mm-hmm. I shared some information several months ago about the county sheriff's participation. And if you just want to give us your understanding, I mean, do you get called when someone hears about an ICE activity?
Yeah, so please understand that in Washington County and Oregon, as I'm sure you all are aware, we're a sanctuary state, sanctuary county. We don't work hand in hand with ICE.
Right.
Share any of our information. We don't provide anything. If they have an operation, we don't assist them. If there's a warrant, an actual signed warrant by a judge that's through ICE, we would assist them with that if they had one or we were to make an arrest on that. We have not done that yet, nor have we.
I was going to ask, yeah.
but obviously we've seen a lot of ICE operations in Washington County. So the way that works is, please understand that ICE, HSI is also what they go by. They are a federal entity. The Washington County Sheriff's Office and the law enforcement in Washington County, the other agencies, we have no control over them, including the sheriff or all the police chiefs. Sometimes what I have seen while on patrol is ICE will call up and tell us that they have an operation in an area and say they will be out there working. That is a common courtesy amongst all law enforcement nationwide, to my understanding, where if you're in another person's jurisdiction, you just kind of give them a heads up, hey, we'll be working here. They have been doing that, but it's not every time. There's no rule or law that makes them do that. Like I said, it's a common courtesy thing. They have done it sometimes, but like I said, not all the time. If we are called because ICE is doing whatever and it's causing a scene, we will come. We will come, and our goal is going to be to keep the peace, maintain peace. The one thing that we are seeing, and we've seen some videos online, are community members trying to stop these ICE agents. Please don't do that. These are law enforcement agents. Whether individuals agree with them or don't, they still have the lawful authority to do their job. If you interfere with them, you're putting yourself at risk to get arrested as well. For example, I saw one about 2 weeks ago where a woman and her husband decided to box in a couple ICE agents out in Hillsborough. Made the local news. I think Channel 6, Channel 2 did a story on it. That is, number one, very dangerous. Number two, it's illegal. I would not be surprised if those individuals eventually get arrested. Please don't do that. We've seen it all over the country. There is no positive that's going to come from that. And understand that if you're boxing in federal agents or any law enforcement and they feel their life is in danger, they may take some extreme steps. And we don't want to see any community members get hurt because they're trying to get involved. What we will say is if you feel something is going on, you believe ICE is out there, you believe it's somebody faking to be ICE, which I will say right now, we have not had any of that in Washington County. I actually haven't seen any of that anywhere. Call 911. That's what we are there. You think that if you think ICE is doing something wrong or illegal, call us. That's what we are there for. We're asking for the community to not get involved and step, at least when it comes to intervening with ICE agents when they're working. It's just, it's the likelihood of someone getting hurt is very high. And if you, like I said, if you interfere with federal law enforcement, you could get arrested. And that's not what we want. We want people to stay safe. I understand that I'm not delivering the message that a lot of people might love to hear. But unfortunately, it's very factual in the sense that our hands are tied when it comes to ICE. We cannot stop them. We can't prevent them from doing their jobs. And we can't make them stop, or we can't make them tell us what they're doing. They are a federal entity and they have oversight and they have directions, and whatever those are, we don't control that. Now, we understand that we have a priority or a obligation in Washington County to keep the peace and educate our community, and that's what we're trying to do. We want people to understand that yes, this is going on, but at the same time, try not to get involved if you can, and call 911 and allow us to step in if we see there's a problem, such as, no markings or whatever other concerns you may have. Any questions on that kind of information?
Share any communication channels? You said that they pull over and tell you, but did you get radio communications or anything from them?
They have our nets, they have our channels, but we have like, for example, on our radios we have channels with every local jurisdiction, Multnomah, Clackamas, all the way out to Hood River. We have all the same channels. We stay off. You stay on your own net. You don't monitor theirs. I don't even know if I have any of the federal channels, actually, now that I think of it. So is there radio communication? For the most part, no. They may come up on our net and talk to us, but that doesn't happen.
That's what I was wondering. So they'll come up on your network.
No, they will not come on our net.
Oh,
they stay separate from us, just like we are a sanctuary state. They understand that we are not able to help them, so they don't ask for help like that.
Oh, okay.
The one thing that we as law enforcement can do is if we were to see an assault happen where, say somebody was assaulting ICE and we got involved, yes, we would get involved and separate that and do what we can, or vice versa. If ICE is overstepping, it's no different than if one of our coworkers were to use excessive force. We in Washington County, in the state of Oregon as well, we are legally obligated that if we see a law enforcement officer using excessive force, we have to intervene. So, for example, if I was on a call and I saw another law enforcement officer, whether it be a local jurisdiction or a federal jurisdiction, I saw excessive force, I am obligated to stop it. Otherwise, I am just as guilty.
Yeah.
So that's why I say, please call us. That way we can get involved and we can take the necessary steps. Okay.
Yeah, I really appreciate your joining us to share this information. I don't see any hands up. Do any of our neighbors have any questions? This is helpful. It is pretty scary. I saw someone up in Bethany where I can't remember if it was the father, I guess, had been taken, and the mom and the kids were alone.
Okay. Well, if there's no other questions, I'm going to jump off if that's okay.
Yeah, I appreciate it. And if anybody thinks of a question later on, I can pass it along.
That would be awesome. Thank you, everybody. You have a great day. Enjoy the rest of your week and stay safe, please.
I turned off both my audio and my video. The only other service provider that I see that's in attendance right now is Lindsay Wachnick from Tualatin Valley Water. Take it away, Lindsay.
Hi, everybody. Hi, Virginia. Thanks, everybody, for having me. I am Lindsay Wachnick with Tualatin Valley Water District. Just a couple quick updates for you. We just finished 2 water main replacement projects in CPO 1, one off of 123rd Place, and then another one at Circle A Drive. Those were finished up in late October. In early 2026, we have a pretty big water main replacement project, probably the biggest I have been a part of. It is 4,500 feet of main to be replaced on Southwest Todd Street and Southwest Linda Lane, as well as Southwest 137th, 138th, and 139th. So more information to come about that. They're still all in the planning stages of that. And then additionally with that, that big project off of Todd and Linda, they're going to be replacing 9 fire hydrants. So I'm sure Tualatin Valley Fire and Rescue will be happy about that. And then again, that's going to be happening in early 2026. And you can find more information on that at tvwd.org/Todd Linda. In terms of what's coming up with the weather, we just did a virtual presentation and a Q&A on preventing frozen pipe breaks, and then winter irrigation prep. It was a virtual water event. We had a Q&A, lots of people attended, which we appreciate CPO 7 and 1 getting the information out there for us. Biggest takeaway, and I know I have to go figure this out, know the location of your home's water shut-off valve. That's a big one. They're typically found in the basement, garage, your utility room, or near a water heater. So please, after this meeting, just take a moment to go and check that out. Make sure you know where that is. That's a big lifesaver if you have a pipe burst or some kind of appliance leak, that kind of thing. It's good to know where that shutoff valve is. And then the last thing to note, we just sent out our quarterly e-newsletter. It includes information on our new Willamette water supply system that we are almost finished building. We're going to start serving water to our customers from that system in mid-2026. We're all very, very excited about that. It also gives an overview of that treatment process, which is really, really cool. And it talks about our reservoir maintenance, which is kind of interesting. We send divers in there every 5 years to clean, help keep those operable. So check that out. It should be in your email. I think it's sent out about November 4th or so. And that's all I have on my talking points to give you.
Mary Lou, you have a question?
Hi, Mary Lou.
Yes, I just have a quick one.
Okay.
When I first moved into my house, somewhere I think I was notified that I was actually on Portland water, even though I'm in Washington County.
Okay.
So, uh, how could I actually find out for sure
Yeah.
where my water is really coming from?
That's always a great question. What I would do is I would suggest you Google water provider lookup Washington County. And a lot of us have a water provider lookup tool on our website where you can put in your home address, hit enter, and it says your water provider is Portland Water, or your water provider is the city of Beaverton or Tualatin Valley Water District. So I use that a lot.
Because I pay my bill to Washington, the combined clean water services and the Tualatin Valley Water District. It's just that for some reason, because I'm right on the edge of the county line and the Portland city line,
Sure.
I'm literally a block north of the county line and the city line for Portland.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so you
So
live in the Portland zip code, but you're still getting water from
We
Tualatin
all
Valley.
have Portland zip code.
Right,
yeah,
right,
we're most of us are 97229, but
right,
that's just the post office doing that.
Right.
right, right.
But the thing that I was just kind of curious because I know Beaverton doesn't Beaverton still put fluoride in their water?
I believe Beaverton does. I'd have to Google that to confirm, but I know Tualatin
Okay,
Valley
so
Water
I'm not,
District, we do.
since I'm in unincorporated,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not in Beaverton, I'm not in Portland, but I just
Um,
sit in this little area
Little
that,
pocket.
that when I first moved here, there were just a few houses. And I was just told by somebody that actually my water actually came from Portland.
Oh, it does. So
Yeah,
that's a
the
great.
bull
Oh,
run,
go ahead, Virginia.
right.
So will that stay that way when the new whatever it is all finished?
So that's a great question. Right now, CPO one receives primarily Portland water purchased from the Portland Water Bureau. So your water is from typically Bull Run watershed. When we transition to the Willamette Water Supply Program, we will move away from the Portland source. So we won't be taking Portland water anymore. Instead, we'll be serving our customers water that has been treated from the Willamette River that's been taken at Wilsonville and then piped and treated and sent to our customers. So long story short, no, you won't still get Portland water. You will instead get Willamette River treated water.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's
Yeah.
a long one. I know. I'm sorry. It's kind of complicated.
Well,
Um,
I'm sure it is. It's hard for me to imagine how that happens.
it's
Yeah.
amazing. It's
I
amazing.
had to look into it a while ago, back when Portland had a boil water advisory. And it turned out that there is a separate pipe under the river that brings us full run water that
Right.
doesn't pass through the Portland system.
Mm.
So, and the fluoridation, the same thing is true, that we don't participate in Portland's fluoridation program.
Portland doesn't have a fluoridation
Oh,
program.
Right,
well,
right. Yes.
anyway, we didn't have to boil our water. It took
There you
quite
go.
a while
Yes.
to figure that out. People were worried.
And it gets complicated. And when we get closer to bringing on the new Willamette River, that source, we'll be doing more outreach specifically to customers. So you'll see and hear more about that.
It'll
Okay,
be
we got
interesting.
another question from Betsy.
Hi, Betsy.
Hi. I wanted to follow up on the fluoridation question.
Sure.
My understanding was I'm also in the 97229 area, My understanding is right now it is fluoridated. And are you saying that when we switch over to the Willamette water, will it be still fluoridated or not?
Yeah, that's a great question. Thank you for bringing that up, Betsy. So yes, Tualatin Valley Water District, we fluoridate the majority of our water source except in the Metzger area. So for you all, you receive fluoridated water right now from that we purchase from the Portland Water Bureau and then fluoridate and then send to your taps. So when we transition over to the Willamette River source, we will fluoridate that source before it gets to your tap. Does that make sense, Betsy? Did I answer that?
Yes, I don't know if I'm muted. Yes,
Nope.
it does make sense. Thank you.
Okay. You're welcome. Thanks for the question.
Mary Lou, lower your hand. Thanks.
I thought I did.
Okay. I don't see any more questions popping up. Thank you.
Thanks, Virginia. Thanks, everybody.
One of these days, I'll figure out how to pronounce your name. Walkney.
That's okay. That's okay.
Okay. Okay. Briefly, we're going to have the CPO1 leadership elections. Bruce could not make it here tonight, but I am willing to continue as your chair, and Bruce is willing to continue as your vice chair. And we'll just have CPO members, and Mary Lou and Fran are steering committee members, and CCI reps, alternates. So if you are a neighbor, a CPO1 neighbor, if you want to vote for the existing slate, please raise your hand. You don't have to vote. We just have to get a majority. Okay, I see four hands raised. Anyone in the opposition? Put your hands down. Kenneth, are you still voting? There we go. No opposition? Okay, 4 votes in favor and no opposed. We shall continue. Briefly, our December meeting, we will get a visit from our state representative, Marie Watanabe. She joined the legislature last year, I think, about a year ago. We've been trying to get a visit ever since, but we finally have her scheduled for our December 9th meeting. So if you've been paying any attention to the state legislature and have any questions about what's been going on, it's a good time to bring them to the December 9th meeting, or just to get a chance to meet her and find out what her priorities are. I still don't see any more of our community partners, so I think we'll just plow forward and have our main program, which is the Washington County Traffic Calming Program with Sherry Gray, the Community Program Coordinator for Washington County Land Use and Transportation. And the message that I sent out was, are you concerned about dangerous driving in your neighborhood? Do you wish there was a way to keep drivers from speeding or other reckless behavior? Attend our meeting and find out how you and your neighbors can work toward a safer street. Before I do that, I am very sorry. I just did want to briefly remind everyone that the information follow-up from our October meeting about transitional housing is available on the Washington County website at washingtoncounty.gov/housing/transitional-housing. And you probably already received messages about that, but if you haven't, they provided not only the presentation that they gave, but also the video link for the meeting and some follow-up answers that they sent to us. There's also kind of a wrap-up article in the November issue of Cedar Mill News, which is cedarmillnews.com. So I'm really sorry, Sherry, but I wanted to be sure that that got in at the beginning of the meeting. So with that, welcome Sherry Gray. Where'd she go? Oh my goodness. She was here. Chris, do you know what happened?
Yeah, sorry. I just got a message from Sherry and her computer just shut off for some reason. She is turning it back on and logging back in. So it should be just a minute or two.
There she is. There she is. Thanks, Chris. Sherry, we're ready for you.
Oh my goodness, that was the weirdest thing. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. We can see you.
Awesome. Let me just open the presentation. My laptop just decided to stop.
Dang.
Right on cue. I knew I was about to start, so my laptop just went bye-bye.
Yeah.
Okay. Hi, everybody.
Well, that was a fast recovery. Thank you.
My name is Sherry Gray. I'm the community programs coordinator for Washington County. I work in the transportation department, and I work with our programs that are community driven and initiated mostly. Programs like Neighborhood Streets program, Adopt a Road, Sidewalk Repair Grant Program, all of those we'll talk about today. I know that you're mostly interested in NSP, the Neighborhood Streets Program, but we have some great programs and I want to share them with you. And
you have as much time as you like. We have nothing else to do tonight. You've got the whole meeting.
Okay. All right. Well, I am going to go through the presentation, and if you want to stop during the presentation and ask me questions, we can do it that way. But I will tell you very often many of the questions I get are answered in a later slide. So
yeah, let her get started. Hassan, can you hang on for a little while and let her get her presentation started, please? Put your hand down. Thank you.
Let me share my presentation. Here we go. All right, can you folks see that?
We can.
Oh, wonderful. Okay. CPO 1, Neighborhood Transportation Programs. First program we have is a Neighborhood Streets Program. I think a lot of you are familiar with this. Neighborhood Streets Program is a program for neighborhood livability. So, of course, you know, safety and convenience and, you know, ease of moving around those are all factors, but really it's just the livability of being in your neighborhood. And the aim is to improve the quality of life on your street, literally, you know, on your little street in your neighborhood. So it's community driven and really takes a lot of neighborhood engagement to move through. It's a two-phased process, phase 1 and phase 2, and we'll go through both of those. And the purpose is to reduce speeding and cut through traffic in neighborhoods. It's available through the NSP program. Well, traffic calming, which is one of the things that I just mentioned, which is the reduction of speeding and cut through traffic. Also, parking by permit, which is a program that narrows the ability for others to park on your street during certain hours. It's not a 24/7 program. It's parking during business or school hours. For instance, Westview High School. There are a number of neighborhoods surrounding Westview High School that have parking by permit installed on their street because students just preferred to park in the neighborhoods instead of the parking lot. And so people, they couldn't have landscapers come, repair trucks, even, daycare. They were having challenges with all of the cars parked on their street. So during school hours, including practices, from 7 to 5, the parking is limited, and each house gets a number of permits for the people that live there, and also a number of permits for residents. Visitors. The third service available is neighborhood street sign toppers. And these are, as you can see, they're toppers for the top of your intersection signs, your street signs, and they are paid for by the neighborhood. These are often done by an HOA or just a neighborhood group, but we will order them and install them for free. For the Neighborhood Streets program, the process is, as I said, it was 2 phases. So phase 1 is education, and it's primarily driver education. But what a lot of people don't realize, or not realize, but what a lot of people don't consider is that the drivers in their neighborhoods are the residents in their neighborhoods. So while we say that phase 1 is driver education, it's also very strongly neighbor education. Someone in the neighborhood initiates a request online. They observe speeding or cut through traffic that's consistent or repeated. And so they go online to Washington County and initiate a request on our web form. And then staff will place the radar trailer on the web form request. We ask you, where's the best place to put it? Where do you recommend? Where do you observe the speeding the most? And we'll try to place it in that area if there is space in the right of way, because we want to get it as close to where you need it as possible. So we'll place the radar trailer as close as we can to the place that you recommend, and collect some data. The data we collect is the number of vehicles, which is volume, and then speed, what the speeds are. And we can begin various phase 1 treatments immediately, we'll look at what those are in a minute. Phase 2 begins 1 year after phase 1 has begun. So that initial request, that's the beginning of phase 1. And then a year later, if you observe that the speeding or the cut through traffic is just as consistent, just as repeated, you can request to enter phase 2. And we will send the radar trailer out again to confirm eligibility, which is, we'll look at that in a minute, in a slide or two. There are certain eligibilities for speed and volume. And then if the street is eligible, then the neighborhood organizer, who's really going to take charge of this campaign, circulates a petition in that specific area. So I will work with whoever the neighborhood organizer is to determine a boundary for the petition. And the petition needs to have 51% of that boundary signed. So you need to collect signatures in support of traffic calming from 51% of that boundary. And then once that's done, I'll verify that you met the 51%, and then we'll move forward and develop. The neighborhood organizer typically knows the neighbors and the neighborhood and what people would prefer for traffic calming and what they think would be useful. And again, this is neighborhood livability. So we don't want to come in and say, you have to do this. We'd rather find out what you want to do, and if that's possible, move forward with that. If it's not possible for various reasons, then we will recommend, hey, instead of that, how about this? And we'll talk about different things and develop a draft traffic calming plan. Once that draft plan is created, then we will set up a neighborhood meeting, a community meeting. And typically they're virtual. We do them out in the out in the neighborhood occasionally, but now like this, it's so much easier for people to attend virtually. So we typically hold them virtually. And the purpose of the community meeting is to answer questions. People, I mean, you can imagine there are a lot of questions that people have with a program like this. So we answer questions. We talk about that draft traffic calming plan. And the reason that we do it as a community meeting is because in a traffic calming plan, there are traffic devices planned to be put in certain locations, locations that are in front of people's houses. So in that community meeting, we really encourage the people, especially the people who are going to have traffic calming in adjacent to their house. We really ask for them to attend because we want their feedback. We don't want to put traffic calming in front of someone's house if they really don't want it. So we allow people to opt out of that. But sometimes sometimes there are such limited locations for traffic calming on a specific street that if we identify just one or two places where it can be placed and then somebody wants to opt out of it, then that's the campaign. We can't move forward. So a lot of that is worked out in the community meeting. And then the traffic calming plan is finalized. And then it moves forward to the balloting process where it's not everyone who signed the petition and it's not everyone in the boundary, but everyone who is directly impacted by the traffic calming, meaning they're going to have to drive over a speed cushion or they're one of the 4 to 6 houses that are going to be impacted by a speed feedback sign, the light of the sign, or it's going to be on their property. So the balloting is really limited to the people who are directly impacted and have no choice but to utilize that traffic calming.
So those are the two options, is the speed bump or the feedback sign?
There are more options, and I'll show those to you in just a minute.
Okay.
But those are the two options that are overwhelmingly selected. In fact, in my 2025, in my 4 years in this role, we've never constructed anything but those two. So those are the preferred options for most neighborhoods. And then after the balloting, if the traffic calming plan receives a certain percentage of support, it was 67%. And I think it's going to move to 51% soon. Then the campaign was successful. The traffic calming will be implemented, and it's constructed according to the season. So, like later in the summer season. Here are possible tools and treatments. So with phase 1, that first year, when the attention is first coming around that there's a problem and you're starting to look at it, there are different options. If sight distance is an issue, we come out and we can do some brush trimming, or we can notify someone that they need to do their brush trimming of their vegetation. Neighborhood speed watch, that we have a handheld radar detector that you can check out and use on your street and collect data. And aligned with that, also we can report egregious speeders to the sheriff's office and have them send a Dear Motorist letter to that person. Speed radar trailer, that's one of the possible tools in phase 1. And that can actually be utilized more than once in phase 1. So there's the initial placement, but then we can place it again over the course of that year to just kind of monitor. And it really lets drivers know, hey, people are watching this street. People have noticed you're speeding, and now we're looking at options to try to change your speeding. So people pay attention to those speed feedback signs. Pavement markings is an option, but it's really limited. I'm including it because it is an option, but the options are limited, and like I said, we don't use that very much. Yard signs is another option, and that is a very popular option. And for yard signs, each resident or each household has to request the signs, and we will give them 1, maybe 2 signs for their property. And then in the same neighborhood, we don't want a sign in every neighborhood, because that becomes then noise. That just becomes visual noise. So we give signs to, probably 2 to 3 out of every 12 houses. Just so that the signs are there and they're prominent, but they don't become invisible because they're everywhere. And then, of course, a targeted enforcement by the sheriff's office. This is something that we recommend. Nothing deters people more than seeing an officer sitting there with their radar gun. That slows everybody down. And we recommend that right away. Phase 2 possible tools and treatments. You can see these for speed reduction, specifically choker medians and on-street parking, speed cushions, and speed display signs, which are the speed feedback signs. The narrower you can get your street, the reason for on-street parking in this section is the narrower you can get your street, the more people tend to slow down. When you have a wide open space, people can see everywhere. They see there's no kids coming. They see there's no people backing out. They tend to go faster. But when you have a narrow space, people tend to go slower. Reducing traffic volumes, diagonal diverters and semi-diverters. And then there are other options: entrance treatments, chicanes, pedestrian refuges, which are those spaces like if you see a crosswalk that has a median in it, often there will be a cutout space for pedestrians to wait. So they'll have one set of one crosswalk on one side and then another crosswalk, and they'll have that space in the middle. And then median barriers.
Are all of those free if the county determines the neighborhood needs it?
All of these are provided within the program. And here's phase 2 eligibility. So we talked a little bit earlier about eligibility. So in order to even petition to have a campaign at the end of that 12-year or 12-month point where you request to go into phase 2, when we place the radar trailer, this is what we need to see. For all roads, the posted speed has to be under 35 miles per hour or equal to. And the 85th percentile speed has to be 5 miles per hour over the posted speed. So that's for any roads. And this program is for neighborhood routes, urban locals, and some collectors, those with residential properties. For the locals and the neighborhood routes, roads have to have maximum of 2 lanes and more than 1,000 vehicles per day. And then for residential collectors, the road length has to be greater than 500 feet. There has to be residential property frontage, and then at least 3 of these other items: at least 50 fronting properties per mile, or on-street parking, no bike lane, and no center 2-way left turn lane. Oops. And that's it for the Neighborhood Streets program. You know what I meant to include in here is a timeline too, because the way that we do the Neighborhood Streets program is it's structured in a way that we collect all of the eligibility over a 12-month period for all the streets that we put the trailer on. And then in December, which is coming up, we identify 2 locals and neighborhood routes and 2 residential collectors, so 4 streets total, that have the highest data set. So the ones that have the most need. And we notify those neighborhood organizers of the fact that they've been chosen. If they want to proceed with a campaign at that point, then they are responsible for doing the petition and getting that back to us. And then we proceed through the process until and then if the balloting is successful, we construct the project at the end of the summer after the road maintenance program, the scheduled work that we have to do every year. After that's done, or in conjunction with that work. So that's it for Neighborhood Streets program. Anybody have questions about that program? Okay.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah,
Okay.
go ahead. Hossein?
Unmute if you're muted. Yeah, you're muted.
Okay.
There we
Hello.
go.
Okay. Do you hear me now?
We do.
Oh, great. So thank you for your presentation. I'm looking at your residential collection and your phase 2 eligibility. You have road length more than 500, residential property frontage, and then at least 3 of these. Okay. On a street bike, no bike lane, no center 2-lane, 2-way left turn. But how about sidewalk? We have no sidewalk here. Can you put that sidewalk in there? No sidewalk.
Sidewalks, that's not part of this program. This is designed, this is for traffic calming only. This is not for like pedestrian projects. So sidewalks is not a part of this, but there is an opportunity for you to request sidewalks in your neighborhood if you want, and we're going to get to that. I think next is we're going to show you how you can ask for that.
I was not asking for sidewalk. I was asking for eligibility. The streets that don't have any sidewalk and people with all their little kids and dogs and everything, and the streets are curved and blind spots, and they have to walk in the streets. And there are a lot of elderly people who have to walk because the doctor tells them they have to walk every day.
You're asking if the lack of sidewalks makes a street more eligible?
No sidewalk make it more eligible, yes.
No, sidewalks is not a consideration for this program.
It's certainly a practical consideration, but it's the parameters of this program that's not included.
Well, isn't that a little hole in there? Because no bike lane and on-street parking, no center 2-lane, these are all valid, but we are all focused on the safety. If we are focused on the safety, then the pedestrians' safety becomes really highly alarming. Even one person gets hurt by a car because you have allowed so many people build, and there's traffic here has 100-folded. And there are a lot of little kids have grown up, they have cars, they want to speed up, and they have no time to slow down, and they don't pay attention. I have to jump away from the street sometimes. So not having a sidewalk, I think it should be in one of those qualifications.
I can understand why you say that. It does make a difference in a neighborhood whether you have a sidewalk or not, and that definitely is a safety issue for pedestrians. This program is paid for by the assessments that you all pay for the ERMD. So the Urban Road Maintenance District is a district that collects an assessment from you each year. And the programs that we serve, we have to make them as available to folks in the ERMD, all folks, as possible. So if we were to make it a requirement that only neighborhoods that don't have sidewalks are eligible for this, we would be eliminating a lot of people, a lot of streets from that eligibility. And there are streets with sidewalks that have excessive speeding too. So in essence, I'm just saying that Sidewalks is not a consideration because safety is not the number one consideration in this. It's a factor and it's important. But our traffic division, they have programs for safety, designed for safety. This is to make neighborhoods more convenient, more livable. And for this particular program, sidewalks are not a consideration whether or not a street has a sidewalk.
Well, I don't know how those decisions were made that safety is not a consideration, but convenient is. This is really an upside down approach because safety.
I'm so sorry if I misspoke. Safety is a consideration. It is one of many considerations. It's not the only consideration.
It's usually the top consideration by my means, because if I'm inconvenient for not having a left lane turn, it doesn't jeopardize anybody's life. But people driving so fast that they really cannot control. I've calculated, even if they drive at 30 miles per hour around the corner, by the time they see somebody, they've already hit it. So this safety should be one of those top ones, not only a consideration, it's not even put on the residential collectors. Well, this is an input. I'm really very top on safety. I worked at Intel for 23 years. For 12 of them, I was a safety czar for the whole factory. And I know exactly what safety can cause and what is it to prevent it. And if it's alarmed, it should be on very top of everybody's. That's why Walmart did not get the permission to build a hub here, because of the safety issue that would have caused.
You make good points. Maybe Sherry could take your suggestion back to the department and possibly include that as one of the eligibility criteria. It makes a good point, but she can't change it right here and now. She's describing the program as it exists. So I appreciate that input, and you make a very good point. Are you going to present a little bit later, Sherry, about how people can request sidewalk? Did you say?
We really don't want sidewalk.
Yeah.
I mean, sidewalk.
Okay.
All
right, but that's still something we'll hear about anyway.
Hossein, I just want to be clear. Safety is a consideration.
Yeah.
But if you have two streets and one has no sidewalks and one does have sidewalks, but the speeding is 5 miles an hour higher on the street with a sidewalk, then that's not going to be discounted because another street also has speeding, but it's 5 miles per hour lower. Our eligibility factors do involve safety. There's speed and volume of traffic. So the higher the speed, the higher the volume, those are the streets that we focus on. And that definitely has a speed consideration.
Okay. Let's hear that question from iPad. If you can identify yourself if you want to.
Hi, that's me. I'm Tammy, and I'm Hossein's wife. Hi, Virginia.
Hi.
Other neighbors who are paying attention, who are participating today.
Right.
I just want, can I just sort of overview our situation here on Lost Park Drive?
Good idea.
Okay. Sherry, I don't know if you're familiar with Lost Park Drive off of 113th Avenue, Cedar Hills Boulevard up here and north of Beaverton. But a group of neighbors have gotten together because we are so concerned about how unsafe our little road has become. There has been a whole lot of construction of new neighborhoods north of us, and those say there's at least 2 cars per house, sometimes 3 or more. They all come channeling down our little street, and everybody's in a hurry. And we who live on this the upper the street makes a loop onto 113th Avenue. And we who have lived here a long time remember being able to walk your dog quite safely on this narrow street. Some people don't have garages, so their cars are in front of their houses, narrowing the street even more. And since we have no sidewalks, if cars are coming from any direction really, but if they're coming from two directions at once, and you happen to find yourself on the street with a toddler, or a what do they call it, a push, what do we call it, stroller. Thank you, Esther. Thank you. A stroller or a dog, it's tricky to avoid getting hit. And a lot of times you really do literally, as Hossein said, have to jump off the street and stand on the curb with your life in your hands. And that's barely an exaggeration, maybe a little bit of an exaggeration, but people have noticed that the neighbors who are walking are getting belligerent, because it's quite clear that people driving cars who are in a hurry they get annoyed at people walking, and that makes them slow down. We have a lot of pedestrians on our little street. If you've never been here, I would really advise you to take a walk with one of us and just see how scary it is to walk on. I mean, a lot of us, including myself, during heavy traffic times during the day, I choose not to walk on the street. If I need to go do something at a neighbor's house or up to the park, sometimes I get in my car to drive to the park, literally, and it's less than a block away. So, anyway, it's a serious matter, and Hossein's right that the safety, the fact that we don't have sidewalks, particularly at the top end of our little loop, the bottom end, which is all brand new construction. Well, I'd been here a long time. It's not brand new, but the lower Lost Park there used to be a partition between lower and upper Lost Park. Now that's open, and those people who live in all the newly constructed homes, obviously take the first right turn and come down our little neck of the woods, because it's a straighter shot to 113th Avenue. If you took the left turn and went winding through the new neighborhood, it's troublesome, and it's just a longer drive. So of course you would come down our street. I don't know if I'm making myself very clear, but the park makes it so that the new people in town have enjoy the park. Little kids, it's so great to see little kids using this park again. For years it lay pretty fallow, and now there's new playground equipment and this and that, and it's very fun. It's a fun place to be, but in order to get there, it's not fun. It's quite dangerous. I don't know how to express that anymore, but we got together earlier this year, and we're delighted to learn that a safety campaign has been initiated for Lost Park Drive neighborhood, and we're really happy about that. We understand, as you said, it's probably going to be a 2-year process to get it going. Our original idea was that we convince somebody that we need speed bumps. And I personally, and I think everybody else in the neighborhood who's listening, would agree with me that that is still a great goal. Hopefully it gets resolved before somebody gets hurt. That's all I can say. I also can I make a personal appeal to other people who might be listening, who are in our neighborhood and use our street to get to that park. I would like to leave my email address for people to contact me, because we would love to have more people ready to sign that petition. And is that okay if I give my email address?
Yeah, we don't have any written way to share it, but you're welcome to say it.
Yeah, okay. I'm just going to say it. It's my name, Tammy Dean, spelled TAMIDEAN, Tammy Dean 8, just the number 8, Tammy Dean 8 at gmail.com.
Great.
Okay. And
Lisa.
I one neighbor I've been in contact with as we've been listening to Sherry wants to make sure that we understand what phase we're in. We've gotten the roll-in radar guy that told everybody how fast to drive, how slowly they must be driving. We've got that was here for a few days, and we were out of town. I didn't really see it, but Lisa knows about it. And other neighbors have seen it. It went away too soon, and it did seem to slow down the traffic that as it was reported to me. But once it's gone, it's kind of back to the way it was. And some of us have received yard signs. We filled out all your paperwork to get to this stage, and we're just wondering, are we ready to move into phase 2 at this point?
I can't really speak to a specific street. I don't have my data set in front of me. I don't have the request forms, so
Okay.
I'm not sure.
Okay.
Right now during this meeting, but I can certainly follow up with you.
That would be great. I would love to invite you here to walk down the street with somebody with their toddlers and dogs, so you could get an idea about what exactly is happening here. Maybe it's a unique situation. No sidewalks, 25 mile an hour, which seems extreme, and many people driving way faster than that.
Lisa had her hand up. Did you still want to ask a question? Lisa, you're muted. Lisa, if you want to ask a question, please unmute. Well, Sherry, do you want to carry on with your presentation, and Lisa can figure out how to get unmuted, and then she can join us.
Sure, happy to. Right, so let's continue. So talking about sidewalks, we used to have a program called the Pedestrian and Biking Improvement Program. That program was highly successful and constructed a number of sidewalks, bicycle lanes, pedestrian facilities throughout the urban unincorporated area. Due to funding and inflation, that program had to close. So that program was paused in January of 2025. Construction of all selected projects are going to continue until those projects are complete. I think they're scheduled out about 2 years. So I think it'll be about 2 more years before all of those projects are complete. The reason for the pausing of that program is again due to funding and cost. The ERMD ordinance, so the ordinance that founded the Urban Road Maintenance District, was initially purely based on paving, on road maintenance. And though these programs that I'm sharing with you, those have been added to the ERMD, the basic purpose for the ERMD, for the district itself and all of the funding is road maintenance. So that's where the funding that was previously going to the pedestrian and bike improvements now has been redirected to road maintenance. So that's what's changed. What's new is that we still accept sidewalk, crosswalk, and bicycle proposals for all county roads. It's not just the ERMD anymore. It's for all county roads. And proposals, again, can be for crosswalks, bicycle facilities, pedestrian facilities, whether that's a pedestrian refuge, a sidewalk, whatever those facilities are. And then the proposals that you submit, when you make the request, those go into a database, and then as projects are selected for construction through MISTIP or as a capital project, then we also look through those smaller proposals that you've made to see if there is something that can be constructed in conjunction with the bigger project. So there's no active specific funding source for these proposals, but they are continually reviewed to see if they will fit into other projects that are being constructed.
Does the URMD advisory group still vet those proposals, or is that out of their hands now?
So that's what I'm talking about. They used to make that decision every other year. They would choose those proposals. That's what you're talking about with ERMDAC?
Yes.
Yeah. So they paused the program in January. So everything that they had previously chosen, all the projects they had selected already, those are still on the books to construct, but no new projects can be constructed.
So who chooses those projects going forward for all county roads?
So, like I said, there's no specific funding source for them. So they're not funded by any specific program. So the ones who choose it are the ones that are constructing. So all the proposals you send or submit are kept in a database. And then when capital projects is going to construct a big project somewhere, in your CPO, they'll look through that database and see if there is another, like a pedestrian proposal that they can include in their bigger project.
Okay.
So it's not a group of people making a decision. It is proximity to other projects. It's cost. It's leverage with other jurisdictions. There's a whole possibility, a whole array of funding sources that it could be. But it's no longer a formal program. This is throughout the county. It's not just the ERMD. It's just, if you have a suggestion, let us know what it is. And if it's possible to build it at some point in conjunction with another project, we'll try to do so. So this is the last slide for this program, and then I'll get to your question, Hossein. What's the process? So I already referred to the web form, or the form, the request form. This is what it looks like, and I will send all of the links for the Neighborhood Streets program, for this request form. Everything that I talk about tonight, I'll send links to Virginia. And Virginia, can you send those? Can you distribute them out to folks?
Well, I can put it in the Cedar Mill News, and I can put it on our Facebook page, but I have no control over what the county sends out.
Okay. Well, if you want to put it in your newsletter, that's great. Great.
Be happy to.
Okay. So questions, Hossein?
Yes. In your slide that I'm looking at, it says proposals are considered as funding becomes available. Just for our information, how much does it cost if you want to put a couple of speed bumps in our section?
So that would not be this program. That would be the previous program, which is Neighborhood Streets program.
Okay.
But the cost for speed bumps has increased from about $6,000 in 2022 to about $10,000 this year for a speed bump.
For how many speed bumps?
For one, $10,000 per speed cushion.
Wow.
Why is it that much? Can we put it ourselves?
No, sir, you can't put it in yourself.
Well, I mean,
So there are statutes and regulations that have to be met in order for anything to be constructed in the right of way, because it's going to be used by an indefinite number of people, and it has to last. It has to be durable. It has to be usable. It has to be functional. So it's not something that we can just that you can just construct on your own in the road.
No, I was implying that I go and do it. I was going to get somebody who's certified by your group, and we do want it to be lasting because we have the one that you're the one who's concerned. So we want to have a very permanent solution. But when it says $10,000 for speed bump, it's really I wanted to know why. Why does it cost $10,000? It's just like when I was at Intel, they would say to the union workers that you want to put a plug in there, they would say $10,000. And I would do it myself based on what the safety guideline was under their construction, and it would last. So it wouldn't cost us $10,000, it would cost us $2,000. So I just want to understand what is the procedure that it costs now. As you said, it used to cost less, but now it's all of a sudden jumped. Why? Nothing has jumped at 10 times. Is there a profit to be made on this?
No, we're a government agency. We don't make a profit. And
okay.
What our discussion is veering beyond just neighborhood programs and how you as a community member can access them. So if you like, we can take this conversation and continue it tomorrow offline. I don't want to take up the meeting, and I also don't know all of the costs that go into what a contractor charges us. So speed cushions we contract speed cushions to a professional contractor that does them for us, and 10,000 is approximately the average of what they charge. So
but you have to go through the entire process of the neighborhood meetings and deciding if it's warranted before it can go in. So having just the neighborhood decide that a speed bump should go someplace is not legal.
Correct.
Well, what is the legality of it, please?
Simply, you can't construct things in the right of way. In the public right of way.
Even the county has regulations from the state and the federal government that control what happens in the roads.
I agree with that. I just want to know that when I understand all this protocol that you have to go through 2 years to go review it. And I know that you guys have limited resources and limited funding. But when there is safety, I think we have to have some other considerations. That if there is something that is only funding, maybe we can help a little more to get this thing going.
Well, it sounds like your neighborhood is already embarked in this process. Are you involved in that?
Yes, I am. I'm just saying that we're putting a little bit of a wrench in there, that the funding is here, one of the obstacles. And they keep saying that the cost funding. Maybe we can allocate some little money from the people who are interested to have this safety address to raise some money. And I want to know, if we do that, how quickly can we get a speed bump? Is a question.
There used to be an option to purchase speed feedback signs. As far as I know, there was never an option to purchase speed cushions installed in the road, but I can look up and find out if that's an option, if that's what you're asking.
Thank you.
To speed up the process, you mean, to have neighborhood funding?
Well, it would still need to go through the process.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
It would still need to be approved by the neighborhood and meet regulations, and it would be constructed by the county, but your neighborhood would pay for it.
Well, with
Lisa,
the
did
help
you
of
still
you, I
want to
mean,
say something?
Did you want to say something?
Tammy?
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't hear my name. What was I going to ask? Hey, Sherry, thank you so much. This has been just really a really good conversation. I so much appreciate you being here and letting us know all this stuff. Is there some way, can we have your email address? Are you comfortable giving us your email address?
It's kind of long, which is why I was hoping Virginia could send it out to us.
Okay, well,
So yes,
okay,
but
I'll try. Is it AY or EY?
why don't I give you the information at the end?
Okay,
Why don't we
that's
continue with the presentation?
sure. Or are we still doing that? Yeah, no problem.
Okay, awesome. Thanks.
Sure.
Okay. The next program is Adopt a Road, Adopt a Landscape program. It's also a volunteer program, and this is also countywide. So it's in the entire unincorporated area of Washington County. So this is not just an earned program. It's also available in the rural area. It's an opportunity for groups, self-selected groups, families or school groups or businesses to, keep the areas around their local areas clean. And then the Adopt a Landscape program is an opportunity to maintain landscaped areas in the middle of the road, so road medians or roundabouts. Here is a map of all of our adopted roads in Washington County. Some of these roads, some of these are adopted already, some are adoptable, and some are not adoptable. I think the ones in yellow are not adoptable due to safety considerations. But the program has a minimum 2-year adoption. So if you sign up, then you need to commit for 2 years, and it's 2 cleanups per year. The road has to be, you can select a road that's available. We have a map, and I'll provide that information to you. We have a map that you can, click on and look at and see what's available. You can select one of those, or if you have a road that you notice gets litter and you want to form a group to clean that up, you can propose a road to us and we'll go out and evaluate it. And if it's safe, then yeah, we'll let you adopt it. Participants can be as young as 12 years old. A maximum of 20 participants per cleanup. If you get too many people on the side of the road, it gets dangerous and chaotic. And safety is the priority, because when we have people in the right of way with cars driving by, we need to be, as you mentioned earlier, when you're walking on your street with no sidewalks. Well, these folks aren't in the street, but still you have people driving by. It needs to be safe. What's the process? You apply, pick out your road, contact us. And once you apply, you complete the application and the agreement. We have a conversation about, what to do, explain the details. And after your group has been approved and you are assigned your road, then you call us or email us to schedule a cleanup date. And then when that date nears, you'll come a day or two before that and pick up your equipment at our Walnut Street Center, which is where our transportation hub for Washington County is. Get all of that safety equipment, and then you'll document. Inside the safety equipment is a document. It's releases of liability for everyone and a cleanup report that tells us how many bags you had. And then you clean up the litter on side of your road, and then you return within a day or two after the cleanup. You return all of that equipment, including the documentation, and that's one of your 2 cleanups for the year. Okay, that's it for Adopt a Road. Any questions about that? Moving on. Finally, I wanted to leave you guys. This is the last program in the presentation, but it is a really exciting program. And that's why I wanted to wrap up with it. The Sidewalk Repair Grant Program. We established this in September 2023 to give folks an opportunity to get some help with their sidewalks. So in Washington County, in Oregon, sidewalks are the responsibility of the adjacent property owner. So if you have a sidewalk on your street, if you have a sidewalk in front of your house or to the side of your house, that's your responsibility. And they can get expensive. So we wanted to do something to help folks with the cost of replacing or repairing sidewalks that are in disrepair. So we have this grant program, and this is an earned only grant program, an earned only program. So we wanted to give some financial assistance to encourage property owners to make the repairs on their sidewalks. We want sidewalks to be safe and accessible and usable for neighborhoods. We launched in 2023. The maximum reimbursement is $2,000. And then the processing of the grant has been integrated into the sidewalk permit application process. So it's really aligned with the permit that you have to get anyway in order to replace or repair your sidewalks. It's reimbursable. Repair or replacement of displaced or damaged sidewalk panels and removal or grinding of specific street trees or roots causing sidewalk damage. So here's a question we get a lot. What if we have a tree that might cause some sidewalk damage? No, it's not for what might happen. This is, you're looking at your sidewalk and you see that this tree has already impacted these two panels. We will help pay for you to replace those panels and grind down the roots of the tree that are impacting that section of panel. So try to help as much as we can. And then also curb repair. And this includes driveway approaches. So the sidewalk part, the part of the driveway that you walk on, that you walk across, it includes that too. So it doesn't include driveway repair, but the sidewalk that crosses the driveway, yes. No cosmetic repair. I've already talked about driveways. No repair or replacement for perfectly good sidewalk panels. This is not for landscaping costs. And all repairs that are done has to meet ADA standards and the county road design and construction standards. Eligibility for it. Again, this is an earned program. So if you live in the earned, you're eligible. The application has to be submitted. So it's aligned with the permit process. So when you're applying for a permit, there will be a section where you indicate, yes, I want to apply for the grant too. And then it'll ask you for some information. You have to apply for the grant and submit that information and get a notice back that, yes, your information is sufficient, you are eligible for the grant, then you can begin the work. If you begin the work before you have met the eligibility standards, then you're not eligible anymore. Meet county road design and construction standards, compliant with ADA, has to be done by a licensed contractor. And then after it's done, it's inspected by our inspectors. And then once that's done, you pay the contractor, and then you submit your reimbursement, your invoice for reimbursement. And the reimbursement is a maximum of $2,000. So you'll submit some contractor bids. That's part of the documentation. You need to get at least 3 contractor bids for the project. And the reimbursement will be a maximum of $2,000 or half of the lowest in contractor bid. kind of just went through this, but the process is first get your contractor bids before you even apply. If you want to take part in this grant, just go ahead and get your contractor bids first. We've found through homeowners' experiences and feedback that we've gotten that it's easier if you just do that in advance. Once you have the contractor bids, then apply for your right-of-way permit, and at the same time, you'll apply for the grant and submit those contractor bids. And then the grant eligibility review, and then the application and the permit itself, the permit approval. Then you perform the work, request the reimbursement, and then get the reimbursement approval and payment and payment.
Okay.
Oh,
I think a lot of our audience is already gone. So we appreciate your attending. I'll do my best to let people know to go and watch the YouTube video of the meeting if they weren't able to attend tonight. Unless there are any more questions, it doesn't look like it. Yeah, it was partly inspired by some folks in that neighborhood reaching out to me, but it's taken us a while to get everything, all the moving parts together, and I'm glad the neighbors were able to get this presentation. So thank you very much.
I think I owe an email to Tammy, actually. Before we go, I'd like to say my email address so she can write it down.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yes.
Okay, you ready?
Ready.
So it's Sherry Gray, SHERRI _ GREY.
Oh, wait. Okay, you got me. Sherry _
GREY.
AY.
EY.
EY. Thank you. EY. Got it.
At Washington County OR.gov.
All spelled out, right?
All spelled out, yeah.
There we go.
.gov.
Thank you, Ika.
Great. Okay, it's Sherry _ Gray at Washington County, Oregon, OR.gov.
Yeah, it's on the screen there.
Oh, there it is. Thank you. Got it. Thank you so much, Virginia.
I didn't do that. Ika did that.
No,
Thank
I
you.
know. No, you you did everything else. Thank you so much for putting this together. Really
You're
appreciate
very
it.
welcome. This is what we're for.
Cool. I so appreciate that.
Okay.
All right.
Right. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody.
Sherry.
Unless anybody has anything else that they want to jump up with, we've had very little development action. I didn't include much of anything in the CPO news this month because nothing's happening. And I guess we'll see you all next month, December 9th. Thanks, everyone. Good night.
Good night. Thank you.